Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today I thought we'd do something non-traditional Christmas card. A little fun, a little different. I love doing abstracts. I know people love to come on my channel for some abstracts. And why not do a non-traditional kind of Christmas card with abstracts? You just creating fun with paint and paper and, all that nonsense. And it just helps you de-stress. You don't have to think about particular, oh my God, it has to be painted a certain way, it has to look a certain way. This is where you can make all kinds of mistakes and just have fun. And this is where you can actually paint with other people who are not good at painting, right? And they just haven't explored watercolor and they want to explore watercolor. It's going to be an activity where you introduce your friends and family to something you find joyful. And they might be intimidated by maybe a subject that's a little hard to paint, but they won't be intimidated by abstract. Nope, it's so easy and simple. So I go over this step by step. We're going to be creating a couple of really cool abstract cards. Ooh, this one with the little abstract snowflakes. And this one we're using the masking fluid and doing abstract, kind of stuff around it. Again, simple, easy, de-stress on these cards. And also any skill level. I mean, super professional artists do abstract. And beginners do abstract. It's something that kind of we can all do together. That's what I'm saying. It's a great activity for friends and family to do. If you're home for Thanksgiving and you have nothing to do, create some fun abstract Christmas cards together. And if it's not even Christmas cards, you can do something else with it. You can just paint. If you don't want to paint snowflakes, you just paint whatever you want on it. It's so simple. Let me know in the comment section if something like this interests you. I love to hear if you love abstracts. Also, ideas that you wish you had for Christmas cards that are different that maybe you didn't think of, or holiday cards, because it's not just Christmas, it can be holiday cards. You can, instead of doing, joy and snowflakes, well, snowflakes go for Hanukkah too, so it kind of covers all the bases. So again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials, and a live stream in the top tier. It's just so please people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. So, without further ado, let's get painting some abstracts. All right, so let me go over some supplies. I have 2 pieces of Arch 100% cotton cold pressed paper. I just ripped them up to a size by 4 by 6 so they could go on a piece of craft paper. I have a black piece here. It's 5 by 7. You can have any color you want. It's up to you. This way you could save money on the paper. You just have this nice piece. And if they want to peel it off and just use this as, frame that could be kind of cool. Then I have metallic paints. These are metallic watercolors. I have a link to metallic paints in my description box, shop my supplies. Hit those words, show more in the description, and a whole box drops down and you can see the little link that says shop my supplies here. It's an Amazon shop. And there's links to something like this. There's tons of companies that make this. This was a promo I did a couple years ago. Or you could use Liquitex acrylic ink gold. I even have gold Holbein watercolor over here in my palette. We're going to be using masking fluid here for one of the cards. So this is just again, this is also in the link of the shop. Really cheap, inexpensive. And I use rubber cement pickup to pick up the masking fluid. It's pretty easy. But this one's just kind of loose. You would use a really kind of crappy kind of brush and play around with that. And we're just going to play around with some color and brushes. You don't have to have any special brushes. You might want a small, a thin brush for some. We're going to paint some snowflakes. So you could use them as 6 for that. Little pencils, of course. And bigger brushes that we have here, we play around with the 12 Neptune series, just kind of washing in the color. So for the first one, let's start off doing the masking fluid one. So when the masking fluid dries, we can play with the other one. So I just thought we just do a simple word, joy. And I have a joy card on my YouTube here. And I believe I used masking fluid for that. I can't remember. But then we painted floral on there. This time we're doing abstract because this is very freeing. I love that you could just play with the color. And, there's no right or wrong method to this. And same thing I'm going to be using. A good tip is to actually kind of pour some of this out into a cheap little palette. But for today, I'm just going to go ahead. Oops, see what happens? See, it gets really thick like that. You don't want to do that. I'm going to remove that gunk. Just going to take the masking fluid and just write the word joy, right? Simply nothing, excuse me, too crazy, you know, with penmanship here. J-O-Y. Get a little funky if you want. I can make my O a little funky on one side. You can make it thick or thin. I'm going to use some of this masking fluid and kind of move in here and add that. See, I'm just going pretty quickly. I find if you go quickly, you have that really nice kind of sketchy, loose artist style, which I like. See, I went really quickly. I'm trying not to get it too thick because then it takes longer to dry. So I'm going to move some of this paint, this masking fluid around. But that took 2 seconds, right? Write the word joy. If you have to use a pencil it in, and then go ahead and just take a paintbrush. Don't use your nice paintbrush for this. Use kind of a meh. Look at this, is a crappy one. Meh. Joy. Simple. Voila. We'll let that dry, and we'll be painting around it. So in the meantime, let's grab this other piece here. We're just going to be taking paint, colors that speak to you. It doesn't have to be traditional blues and whites, you know. You can add like greens with the blues, a little blues and the reds, a little brown. Get a little funky with it. I mean, your traditional, your craft piece that goes on top here. I mean, I have black, but you could use brown, you can use red, you can use yellow, pink, blue, whatever. This is supposed to be an experiment of fun, right? We'll have, I don't know if I actually have enough in here. It's kind of dried out. Oh, yeah, this one's dried out. So you can play around with these kind of paints. It's always good to activate them first. How do I do that? I take the spray bottle. You can get anywhere like Hobby Lobby, Michael's. Just get a little wet just so it starts to get activated. I'm gonna move this craft paper. And I have all kinds of paints in this new palette that I have here. Again, I was gifted this palette. So this is from Sylvan Clayworks in Nashville. They make these ceramic palettes that are really nice. They're not cheap, so you might have to save them or ask for Christmas. I kind of find it fun. It's kind of fun playing with this little palette. So I'm going to play around with blues and some golds. I'm going to activate this gold I have here. That's gold watercolor from Holbein. I might add a little more. Oh, and I didn't mention, you know, grab some pens, you know, metallic pens. I have a gold one here. This one is actually, you can use it for all kinds of surfaces, glass, metal, you name it. And a white one, silver, whatever you want. We're gonna have fun. So I have a color indigo here. I don't talk much about indigo, but it's great to have something like a really deep, dark blue. Paynes gray, ultramarine blue here. And you can start to just paint wet on dry. See, it's wet and it's going on dry paper. Wet on dry. Just start painting some little blobby blobs, right? Clean off your brush. You can add some brown. That's a nice brown tone. It doesn't have to be blues and greens and reds. This is abstract. This is a Christmas abstract. I will make a green. I have my yellow here, cadmium yellow deep. I might have to grab some more yellow. It's amazing how I ran out of yellow so fast. I go through yellow a lot because I mix yellow with magenta to make a red. I mix yellow with blue to make my greens. So yellow is one of those colors that gets used a ton. So I can mix it with the indigo. I can mix it with ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue, because it has a little red in it, you're going to see how dull this green turns into. Like, ooh. The peacock blue, which I talk about here, what I'm using here, creates that really bright, vibrant green. So if you want a really bright, vibrant green, use that peacock blue. See? And you could add a little indigo to that, make it deeper. Play around with your blues. Put in the greens. So I'm just going to do, again, wet on dry. I'm grabbing water on my brush too. I'm just kind of moving this color around. Having fun. Just kind of like, it's just like a splotch. You know, cards don't have to be this perfect Christmas theme kind of thing. They can be an experiment of art. See, and you can see how I just splattered that. Just found me. I like it. I'm going to go add some thicker indigo, less water. Going to bleed some of that color in. Just play around. You can start to make some circles. little dashes, dots. I'm gonna make a thicker green, thicker green paint. Using the indigo again with that yellow, more indigo. Less water here. You can see it's getting a little thicker. See? You could put in like a kind of a semi-quasi tree, but we're just doing abstract. And you see I'm taking the tip, this is number 12, Neptune, just kind of wiggling the brush around. This is not something that has to be serious. I have a cobalt blue here, which is a nice bright blue. Can play with adding that. So the color can go off the page, doesn't have to go off the page. I'm kind of making going off the page here. I'm grabbing some water, lifting it, adding water, making it soft over here. All the fun things you can do. See, leaving a little white. Get jiggy with it. Adding the green, go back and add some indigo. Real intense, like dark color. You can like lift up the paper. Oops. Why I want that indigo is because the gold really shows up great on a darker tone. So you got that deep blue. You think of like Starry Night, going down like this. You still have some wet kind of color here. Let's just play. I've been kind of like stressed out myself. I mean, I know Thanksgiving's around the corner for some people. And, it's typical Christmas stuff. I don't want to always do that. I want to do something fun. Different. Unexpected. Unexpected is always good. Look at that bright green in there. I added some more yellow. Just unexpected. There you go. Little streaks, taps, little dashes here, little lines. And then you'll have this really kind of cool, abstract, kind of fun thing. Now at this point, I might take a medium type brush. I have a number 8. I did mention, I don't know if I mentioned, we can have some gouache in here or Liquitex acrylic ink, because the ink and the gouache will make that color kind of do this separating thing. So if you don't have this ink, gouache works great. It's got chalk in it. I'm gonna water this down. I'm gonna do some gouache splattering and some gold splattering, or you can just actually technically just tap it in. So I'm going to grab just a smaller brush. I have a number 8 round here from Velvet Tip series from Princeton again. I'm watering this down. I get it fairly wet. Very translucent kind of. I always tap it over a brush or a pen. It just makes it easier for me to do this. You see me doing this 1,000 times. And it's not going to stay this white. It's going to just bleed and it's going to be softer. It's almost like snow at the moment, but it won't be. And then we're going to grab some of this gold, water this down. This is the Holbein gold. Let's see. Oh yeah. I love the splattering. It's very freeing. You can splatter the blues too. Don't feel like you have to have just the gold and the white. This, metallic has all kinds of other colors. This copper color in here, kind of fun. It's a little thick. Ooh, now that is interesting. Maybe tap a lot on one edge. See, I'm doing that in one section. You can kind of just tap in the color, kind of play around with adding in. There's a lot more different golds in here. See how the white is now just kind of blending in now? Look at this. This is a different kind of gold. Just tap that in. I'm just playing. It's very wet. Now it might, see how it's buckling up like this a little bit. You could tape it down. I'm not too worried about it. I'll let it dry eventually, and I'm going to be taping it down and gluing it anyway, so I don't really care. You could take the gouache and go back in and tap more. When you tap that really thick white paint in that little white area that kind of blended, it's cool. You can actually just create your own kind of abstract by just tapping that in. Don't have to wait. And I might go back in and tap some more indigo. Really thick, minimal water. See what happens. Just want to get in there. Right in the center, kind of around here. Just my eyes, just my particular day. I'm just gravitating towards this section. Oh, it's a little dry, so I'm going to make that wet. There we go. And fill that in. Do some like movement with circles. I don't know, just felt like that. Something different. All right, once you feel like you've got your groove with this particular painting and you've finished it, you're gonna put it aside and we'll come back to it, okay? So I'm gonna come back to it and we're gonna go back to our joy. Hoping that our masking fluid has dried, and we'll get started on this one. So this time we're doing the same thing, but only over the letters, right? So again, so the coordinating of the colors, we already mixed up the colors that we liked. See, I'm just kind of mushing it around the letters. You kind of want it a little bit dark around the word because that's going to be white. See, mush, mush, mush. You can have a dark green mushing in there. So I'm put this indigo in here with some yellow. Get a deep green. Play around with that. And kind of coordinate with the other one. So you got to cover the whole, you got to cover those letters. Otherwise, it's not going to see the word joy. And it won't be joyful if you don't cover it. But this is simple, simple. You could just cover this, just this section in here. Look at this. Just make these little lines. Joy. See, I'm just taking the brush and going like this. It has a lot of energy. It has a little life to it. Adding some blue. I just keep it like that. Just filling in the center part. I'm gonna go and add some green. Like I said, you have to go around those words. Get a little bit darker. It's just so they show up. If you don't do that, you're not gonna really see them, and well, then you're just masking fluid for nothing. So now we can add some gold, or tap in some gold. We can actually just add some gold splotches out here, which we didn't do with the first one. We can play around with that, see? Gonna just wiggle around. And just having fun. This is what I'm talking about, having joy with your paint. Hence why we put the word joy in there. You know, if you're not having fun, you really got to step back and do something else. This is supposed to be fun. So it doesn't have to be traditional Christmas colors. We got some, the blue, we got the gold in here. And it doesn't even have to be Christmas. It could just be holiday. Maybe not everybody celebrates Christmas. People celebrate Hanukkah. You know, you could put symbols of that in there and do the same kind of thing. Abstract. You can, the typical blue Hanukkah, you can just change up and add more gold and browns. It doesn't have to be one thing. So there I added that cobalt, just a nice bright blue. Sometimes people say, well, how do you know when to stop? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't. If you like it, stop. That's what I say. If you're not liking it, try and keep going. How's that? Does that help? See? I liked what I did, but I kind of wanted it to go a little more like freeing. So I might have something kind of dripping off the side here. I don't know, and like, yeah, there we go. I was getting what I wanted, but it was not complete. I just want this like drip. So I'm adding water and just kind of letting it drip and then removing the water and then getting this nice soft kind of fun, playful, you know, abstract look here. I'm softening up, grabbing more water with my brush, just kind of moving it and removing it and tapping on the paper towel. And you can still see some of those lines that I created, but then you've got this softness around the edges. And I'm liking this. I don't know. So now I'm liking it. Don't want to play with it too much. I can go in and tap some gold around here. This gold paint, let me see how this works. I need some more paint, thicker paint. Maybe a smaller brush. The big brush wasn't working well. Let's take the number 8. Loosen up this paint a little bit. You know, with the gold paint, you want to loosen it up and not make it super opaque. You want to keep it thicker. Ooh, that was wet. So that created some, maybe a happy accident. I don't know. I'm just going to tap in some dots. What I think with joy would be. And this, you know, I was going in that circular kind of motion. just kind of tapping in. I'm not going to splatter on this one. I'm just doing a little tippy taps and moving the paint around. Get the joy with the gold. Ooh. Left this section. I kind of like that. I think I'm getting there. And then also, when it dries, you can go in and add some more paint if you feel the need. I'm gonna add a little more dark indigo, and then I think I'm gonna let it dry and be done with it. So I'm gonna grab some indigo. That got kind of washed out with my little happy accident. I'm gonna go around here a little bit. Just gonna enhance the lettering by just adding some dark color right next to it, which is what I wanted to do. All right, at this point, I think I'm done. And if I want to add something when it's dry, I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to let these both dry and come back. Okay, going back to the first one, I have this gold metallic pen. It's not the greatest, but it will help me guide me if I want to paint thicker snowflakes. Now, I showed many times how to do snowflakes on this site. Just write in on the search little thing on the right-hand side of my actual homepage on YouTube, write in Christmas cards or snowflakes, and you'll see it. So we'll just zoom in a little bit. A pen, and I'll do it where the darkest part of the abstract is. And I'm just going to do like a line down, and then you can cross it, right? Crisscross. And then from here you get really detailed. You can add these little V's to the bigger lines and the medium lines, right? More V's. You guys can do that. Get in here and make bigger circles, right? You can get a little bigger circle. So now you have a guide of a snowflake. Get even more intense with this, adding more V's and a little pattern that connects them. So you can kind of see it, but this pen isn't great. So I will go back in and I'll take my little brush. This is at number 6 I had mentioned earlier, right? And then you can use the paint. So I have this Holbein Watercolor Gold, or I could use one of these guys. Let's see which works better. This is kind of thick right now, so let's see. You just go right back over this. Oh yeah, now it shows up nicely. See, that pen wasn't working well. Oh, that's intense. And you go back and just fill in. There are so many snowflake patterns all over the internet. This is just a basic one. Go and like Google it and you'll see all these really pretty patterns that you can play with. You know, I'm making kind of a mess, but again, it's an abstract kind of thing, and who cares? You know, this is all in the joy of the fun of it. I'm actually not really going over my lines before, so I have this double thing, but I think it doesn't really matter. And then I can go make a bigger dot in the center. And then you can just do little dots on every little V, or just the outer V's. See, I'm dotting the edges, the tip of where the V is. Go back in and add little lines inside. Just makes it more stand out. And then on the outside where it ends, you can add one floating kind of out here. So you could do gold ones, right? That's a bigger one big one. And then you can go in and do some smaller ones. This is the fun part. This is part of like the doodle part, right? So you get the crisscross, applesauce, add the V's and the dots, all that good stuff. You can do some regular ones here. I'm just doing all gold. That's what I feel like. You could add white ones. Do some gold, do a gold one out here, kind of a fairly big size one. I find this like very therapeutic, by the way. Just painting little snowflakes. And they're not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. And again, at this point, you can still just add more gold itself. You can add, see, maybe like a little circle. Loosen up this paint. Just do little squirrels, movements. See, I just did that, and it's kind of fun, right? Squirrely, squirrely. It just makes it more interesting and different. Now that it's dry, you just play around, play around. Feels like it's moving when you do these little squirrels. Take the white gouache or white paint, or white marker. I don't know if my white marker is working well. The pen wasn't working, so let's see. Oh yeah, this is working better. And you can make some white snowflakes as well. They could be all white, they don't even have to be gold. Simple. Just don't make yourself crazy. Sometimes simplicity is the best. Right? Little ones. Little ones. Look how pretty that looks. Kind of reminds me of like a mosaic. And then I can just make some little, again, little lines, kind of scrolling. Nothing fancy. Put some white in with the gold. You can change that up. That could be kind of fun. Little dots. All like right here. This is just like a doodle. I'm having fun. And that's the point. I kind of really like that card. Doesn't that look pretty? And then when you mount it, it's just really just elegant and different. And it's an abstract. And you could write the words peace in here. I was thinking about doing that in the dark lettering. And if you're going to do that, you might want to start with a pencil to see where you're going to go first. Just on the edge here, I would have to go with my gold if it's going to work. I don't know. I might play around with it. At this point, I'm going to just put that aside and work on my joy one. Now this should be dry. And when it's dry, we're going to use this rubber cement pickup. By the way, before it's dry, if you want to start to add in, oops, I had white paint on my brush. Some gold stuff while the paint's dry that you didn't have. If you want to paint over your letters and kind of cuckoo like this. See, I'm just doing the swirl to so they kind of coordinate with the other one. Swirl it. And then you go back and let that dry. And then we're going to have fun with this. So it's not necessary to have a rubber cement pickup, but I just love it because it just makes my life easier. And just go and remove that masking fluid. You could use tape or your fingers. I just feel like that takes longer and sometimes people get frustrated. And this sucker puts some pressure down, of course, to remove it. It's oddly satisfying. Look, joy. I guess I missed that little spot. Isn't that cool? Simple. You guys can write the word joy. I know you can. And you go in and grab your gold paint and you add a little gold nut spot that was kind of sitting there. And you can take some of the indigo. We're having fun. We're just going to do some squirrels. It's supposed to be joyful. And that's it. See, I'm going to go back and add some indigo. I'm just making the lines with my number 6. Nothing too super fancy. And the look would be really pretty when it's on the, look at that, simple. At this point, because maybe you put some really dark and you didn't want white, you could fill that letter in with gold, and you can go back in and add some more, gold or white, whatever. This one has a little more gold in it. It's just a preference thing. Like I said, everyone should be creating their own little joy. If they don't want gold, do silver. Don't have to do blue and gold. It could be silver and red. All right, and go back in and add some indigo. I don't want to get too crazy. Maybe you can make the letters a little, see, it comes out sometimes a little jagged if you didn't do perfectly, and you can go back in and just kind of fill it in next to the letters. Play around with that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, we're just having a joyful time. So I just thought I'd do some cards that were simple, easy, less stress. You know, this is something you can all do. Say you're at Thanksgiving and you're on an activity, and not everybody's really good at painting, and maybe they're not because they haven't. You're interested in it, and they're not, and they're like, "What's this new, thing you're doing? Watercolor." Well, this is something simple anyone can do. You're really just pushing paint around to create this kind of card and just drawing some snowflakes. And you have some beautiful designs. We could write peace in white. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to debate on that. A little trick that I want to show you how to do if you're not sure. You could use acetate. I'm going to rip up some tissue, and the tissue could help you. Peace. You could write that in white. You can see how it looking. If it's going to look well over the things that you have painted. You play around with it and you step back. It's a little trick. I don't know if you can see that, but it helps. But I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is right now. And that's that. And then maybe you'll add some snowflakes to the first one. The second, Joy, to coordinate with the one you just did. You don't have to. You can add a couple of little snowflakes of gold. But it's just fun. So like I said, I just did blue, gold. I'm adding little skinny little snowflakes. You can have them coming up over here if you want them to coordinate. Don't have to have them coordinate, but if you're actually a person who wants to actually do something like this and create a card set one day, these are ideas for you. There you go. So, and then we just mount them. How you mount them, you can use glue gun. I always think like the best permanent way is rubber cement both sides, like this, rubber cement this, and where it's going to go here, it will stay forever. But you can use glue gun. You can use, some people said that regular glue works fine for them, and rubber double stick tape also. But it's a thick piece of paper, so I don't know. It's up to you. So I hope this was joyful for you. You enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know in comments if you liked abstract Christmas cards, if you like the idea of them, or you prefer like really symbolism, the old-fashioned type of symbolism. And comments in the put a comment down of like ideas that you want to see for Christmas cards. I think I've done like everything I can think of. So nowadays I'm like, do people want to see another winter landscape, or maybe a snowman or reindeer? Leave a comment below. Let me know. So thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you have a fantastic day. And please spend some time with some joy. Metallic paints are so much fun to play with. Play with them. I love playing with them. And you don't have to be traditional. You can I use blues and greens here. I have the copper. The copper actually is really kind of cool. I didn't put it in here, but I like it here. And it's just a different kind of card. And I think it's unique, and I think people would really, really be impressed by it. All right, peeps. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.